The impact of a Nazi triumph would have been catastrophic, extending beyond the confines of Europe. Let's delve further into this alternate reality, exploring additional significant outcomes. Holocaust and genocide. The Jewish population, along with many others, would have suffered unimaginable atrocities. Millions more would have perished in the Holocaust, and other targeted communities, such as the Chinese and Koreans, would have faced widespread extermination. Global colonization. The colonial powers of the British, French, and the USA would have fallen under the control of Germany, Italy, and Japan. These victorious nations would have expanded their empires, subjugating colonies and exploiting resources. Fate of Allied leaders. Leaders of the Allied nations might have met grim fates. Some would have been captured and executed, while others would have managed daring escapes, leading underground resistance movements. Occupation of USSR and USA, the Axis powers, namely Japan and Germany, would have jointly occupied the Soviet Union and the United States for several decades. These nations would have exerted their dominance, reshaping the political and cultural landscapes. Liberation and new governments. Paradoxically, some nations would have experienced earlier liberation. Countries like India, Burma, Malaysia, and Indonesia would have gained independence from European powers in 1945 itself, with figures like Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose establishing progressive governments in India. Global power dynamics. In a world where peacekeeping organizations exist, Germany, Italy, Japan, and India would wield considerable influence. Their autocratic regimes and ideologies would shape the direction of such organizations, altering the balance of power. Potential for World War III. With the dominant powers, Japan and Germany, refusing to yield to the influence of smaller nations, tensions would escalate. The world would face the imminent threat of a third global conflict, with catastrophic consequences. Unpartitioned nations, Germany, Korea, Vietnam, and India, would have remained undivided. The partitions that occurred in our reality would have been averted, significantly impacting the cultural, social, and geopolitical landscapes of these regions. Rise of autocratic leaders. The victory of authoritarian regimes would have emboldened similar leaders on the global stage. Many more autocratic figures would have emerged, perpetuating oppression and suppressing individual freedoms. Altered international organizations. Institutions such as the United Nations Organization, UNO, World Health Organization, WHO, International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank would have likely taken different forms or may not have been established at all, reflecting the ideologies and power structures of the victorious Axis nations. Imperial Japan and shifting power. Imperial Japan would have risen to a status comparable to the Great Britain of our timeline. China might have become a puppet state under Japanese control, dramatically reshaping the geopolitical dynamics of East Asia. Linguistic and cultural transformations. Many nations in South America and Africa would adopt German and Italian as their primary languages, replacing English, French, and Spanish, resulting in a significant linguistic and cultural shift. Narrator. This glimpse into the parallel past reveals the immense ramifications of a Nazi victory. The world would be unrecognizable, marred by totalitarianism, genocide, and a distorted global order. Join us on Parallel Pasts as we continue to explore alternate histories, shedding light on untold stories and asking provocative what-if questions. Subscribe to our channel for more captivating insights into the twists and turns of history.